morning, everyone, and welcome to another webinar by us at Archipedia, a common platform to interact and share knowledge among architect designers. I'm Anupama Sharma. I'm an architect and a landscape architect and the co-founder of Archipedia. So today we have with us architect Prakrati Sharma and architect Shivani Gaikwad, who will be taking this who will be taking this webinar on illustrations in design. So let me introduce them to you. Architect Prakriti Sharma is an alumni of School of Architecture, IPS Academy, Indore. She has pursued her master's degree in digital architecture from BNCA Pune. She is the founder of studio The Mod Space. She is experimental and likes to explore digital fabrication techniques. She follows parametric architectural style in her design, and her working pattern has also to deal with parametricism, which she believes helps us think outside the box. Architect Shivani Gaikwad did her Bachelor's of Architecture from MIT Aurangabad and has pursued her Master's in Architecture in Digital Architecture from BNCA Pune. She is the founder of the Modulus Art Design Studio. She likes to explore her knowledge in computational design and on product level and tries to inculcate the same in her work. She believes that parametricism leads to explore a different way of in the field of architecture. So before we start the webinar, I would like you all to if you have any queries or anything, we'll take all the queries at the end of the webinar. And in the meantime, you can also write all your queries in the chat box. So I'll just hand over the mic to architect Prakriti so she can start with the presentation.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the introduction. So, before starting the presentation, I would like to request you all see the presentation for this workshop is done throughout and how the design presentations is done. Thank you, and now we are starting. A great design is a mediocre if it's not presented well. In order to win over a client, planning officer, or a committee, it's important that the scheme and design is clearly conveyed and easy to understand. In a way, it's a sales pitch because you are selling your design, ideas, and concepts. The content of this presentation consists of how to represent in architecture, what should include it, tips to remember while making your presentation, sheets, or must have in your presentations, and process of architecture to create a presentation board, structure, orientation, setting, sizes, layout, and etc. But our main focus will be on presentation techniques and illustrations, importance of good diagrams and impact of good diagrams on grid, introduction to the tools that can use to create a good architectural diagramming and graphics. So, representation in design is the presentation of your work. It's a visual communication of your ideas. This presentation of ideas, concept, drawings, and graphics, presentation PPTs or board, etc., can assist a client imagination or to help to win a commission. They should be clearly communicate and easy to understand the three-dimensional elements of your design. Your drawings, graphics, and presentation board should have one main purpose to communicate. But how? You need a good design, content of the presentation skills of PPT board or any medium you're presenting at, a good diagramming, and of course, illustration skills. All of these are components to make your design stand out. And if your presentation looks good but doesn't do its job, you may need to rethink again. So today in this presentation, we are going to talk about presentation board, presentation techniques, and illustrations in design. So how and what are the things to remember while starting your presentations? So here are some. Let's see one by one. Good quality of graphics, architectural diagramming, and renders. Your presentation boards must have a good quality of graphics, diagrams, and renders to represent your ideas and clearly communicate the details and essential aspects of the scheme. Graphics and diagrams made a huge impact on the crit client. The next one is less text and more graphical representation. Let's see two example series, for example, for a site analysis. So this is example number one, and see how the things are composed. The diagramming, pictures, and lot of text. Will you able to read all the information? And what if you are looking this project for the first time, as we are doing it right now? Confusion, isn't it? In another example, number two, see the way each and every diagram is designed with respect to your project requirement, which made project easy to understand for a person who is viewing it for the first time. Each graphics is so informative and easy to understand. Let's look one of the graphic in blown up. So this blown up is of landmark mapping. See the way location is marked in monochromatic map up to various different radiuses from 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer and 3 kilometers in which all the landmarks are mapped. It's a simple examples which we are showing to make graphics self-explanatory. Do remember, like whenever possible, replace the text with graphics like these to make presentation more creative. And it's very important not only to showcase the information with which is required, but if when you see unnecessary explanation in this particular sheet may lead to confusion and occupy space and can be diverting. So graphics are the best way to explain your ideas, text won't. So the next thing is quality over quantity. Quantity may lead to confusion. It's a very important point to view our project as for the first time and consider how easy or difficult it is to understand the concept and main element and essential aspects of the scheme. You can see in both the examples the quality and informative visuals create an impact, not the text, right? So no one have time to read your text, so keep the relevant information on your boards. Don't compromise quality over quantity, it doesn't make any sense. So be crisp, clear and to the point while explaining your ideas. Ano- Another thing is your body must have a storyline with supporting graphics and text. Storyline is yet another important aspect to convey your ideas. Before starting your sheets or presentation or boards, make a script or a story how presentation is going to flow. What are the things that to be displayed first and should have the link in between them. This is how storyline works. So this is an example. You can see how each and every detail is placed one after another according to the flow is set. This is looking self-explanatory. This example of the storyline of a site analysis, like for your thesis projects or maybe some projects, if you the broader storyline, for example, the introduction, right? The case studies, inferences, site analysis, SWOT analysis, main designing and technical drawing. This is how the flow goes. So for the person or a juror or anybody who is viewing the project for the first time may link your project throughout the described points and can understand it better. Next thing is format, scale, and style that work together to create a logical and comprehensive view of the project. We are in a very professional field, guys. We have to work together as a unified selection of drawings with the format, scale that work together to create a logical, comprehensive view of the project. All your sheets, all your presentations should have a same format and in which all the technical data should be represented really well. So different, be professional with your work. And different graphic styles and inconsistency can cause a lack of clarity and confusion, and it is really diverting sometimes. Remember, different graphic styles and inconsistency can cause a lack of clarity and confusion. Right. So when we read design presentation, we read from left to right, from top to bottom. And the way it is read is depict the storyline of your project. So same technical color coding throughout, same color scheme throughout, same text styles and size throughout, and support your project with data and graphs. Graphics has to support your projects. And most importantly, don't overdo it. It doesn't make any sense. And of course, the thing is, your board should attract crit and they should become curious to know what is in the design. So while representing your ideas, these are the points to be followed. So you can note it, right? So after this structure, now let's talk about how to structure your presentation boards because structuring your board is also known as mind mapping. Before beginning of any presentation, whether it's architectural board, composition, or PowerPoint presentation, structuring it properly is must. Questions can be attracted. So now it's in everybody's mind that how to mind map before starting any presentation for any project, right? So first, start with question yourself about the project. What are you trying to convey? Always start with questioning yourself first. Make a habit to ask what, why, and how about the project. Then list down all the questions came in your mind and write answers to it. This habit will let you analyze the details of your own project. Being your own crit will always make you for ready for the stronger defense. Do remember that questioning yourself will always take you a step ahead towards finding the right answers in the right direction. Relevant information. List for structure and filter it. Don't try to put all the information in the sheet, it can create chaos. The relevant information which conveys your idea and goes with the storyline should be presented. Now, what are the key elements in your design you would like to portray? Always plan a focal points and in their position in their presentation. For example, my focal point is something I've designed in my level planning, so I'm showing some sections or anything like that. So it creates an impact on a person, and listing the key elements also helps. Structure the whole project in heading, subheading, and bullet points. Structuring your board in bullet points helps. It will let you filter the information, important information. It is one of the easiest method to compile the information. Now let's see how to structure a project with an example. Right, for the case study, let's structure for the case study. Project profile, area analysis, parking analysis, site, and building. See, from heading to subheading to bullet points, all the major and minor details are covered for the project, which gives you more clarity about the project. Set the flow of presentation so easy, and by storyline the whole project, you won't miss any details. And most importantly, when you design illustrations, you will have the idea about what information to showcase and how to what to design for illustrations, right? Which is relevant for the project. Information or graphics which can obviously mislead the project. Now, after that, what drawings and images you have to show as a part of your criteria. Then list down after that, then list down what are the drawings we required as a part of our project, which justified our project and easy to understand that. Last is filter the information, limit the content, show only information supporting your project in less time. You should always have filtration criteria. Like you have designed something and you don't need to put all the information. Just put that information, filter it, जो required है as in your presentation. Lastly, script the whole presentation to speak in jury and for the this is the most important step. Your presentation board should have more graphics and less information. But to convey the information, scripting helps. Working on your speaking skills. Like as an architect or a designer, at every point of life, we have to give presentation from people to jury to client to workmen to professionals. So, speaking skills are very important in our profession, and it's a very professional way. So, start scripting your projects from day one itself when you're in college, right? So after structuring, so this is structure points to be followed for your presentations, so you can note it down. Now after structuring the project, let's move to the composition of the sheet or a board or a presentation layout to start with. Starting with the orientation, setting, and sizes. Orientation can be vertical, horizontal, and various type of sheets and sizes from A0 to A5. Now let's look the way sheet is composed. Now you can just look the way sheet is composed. The hierarchy, color palette, graphics, subtle plan and section and drawings, monotone palette for technical drawings, no much coloring in the plans that look really shabby. All the necessary text on the left side of the sheet. This sheet is a perfect example of less text and more graphical representation. The way palette is used, all isometric drawings and graphics will transform your project into a very professional project. And we are in a profession where professionalism is must. And this is for the horizontal layout. Now let's see, layout has a five major components: grid, placement and zoning, visual hierarchy, background and color schemes. Now let's start with the grid. Grid is organize the visual elements on your board. Use simple grid or something more complex. Grid helps you to organize the element on your page and produce consistency across the architecture presentation board. You need a good organization skills basically. So there are two type of grid. One is your format. Grid B is your inside composition. So grid A have your name, sheet title, page number, and other information like note, key plan, etc. And grid B have an inside format in which your design data will be there, your plan, section, elevation, and all right. So let's see grid B. So taking two A1 side sheet to showcase the examples for composition. So in example number 1 and 2, it shows the broader grid for composition. See the way everything is grid and placed. Done. So important to design your sheet to have a focus on important information about your project. So you will receive a constructive reviews which you use further. That's what our aim is. In software like InDesign, which we'll talk about at the end of the session, in such software, composition made it very easy, faster as compared to Photoshop and PowerPoint. You just have to set the grid and zone, just drag and drop it. And the next is showing the smaller grid inside the composition, in which your margin, your text size, main heading, subheading, spacing between two, font, everything is placed. So the sheet looks organized. Now let's see the placement and zoning. Starting with an example, see the sheet for a moment, see how everything is placed, drawing, quality of diagrams, texting, and renders. Now let's see how it's actually zoned out. So title, concept, main render shot, render 1, render 2, details, exploded plans, floor plans, elevations, and sections. So you can see the grid of the layout they have used for the composition. So these type of sheet is not a rocket science. It just need a strategic placement and organization skills which support your storyline. This was for this is for the vertical, and this one zoning for the horizontal. And some example of the grid composition you can try or create your own. Now let's move to visual hierarchy. Like, what is the strongest point and the highlight of your project? Grab the attention from far away with that. There are many ways to grab attention to a specific drawing using color or sizes. Visual attention in this sheet is sectioned down in this sheet. So highlight your best diagrams or plan your sheet with respect to your best diagrams. This will create a visual hierarchy. So main discussion will be happen on that diagram. So you can consider this as a trick for your juries to grab attention on your best work. Right, so in this, these are the two. So when you view your presentation board, you want something to view from 6 feet away and up close. So this communicates your visual hierarchy. This could be sketches or exploded view as you can see in both the sheets, or section or anything. Now let's go to background. It's called background for a reason. It should be a platform to feature your diagrams, enhance your presentation skills, and mainly focus on the information and graphics you want to convey and away from misleading and distractions. Some as we use our own, sometimes as we use our own faded drawings for our own project as a background, and this can be seriously diverting. So let's see two examples. White backgrounds are the best way to show true colors of your project. Like in this particular sheet, we have a good a render shot, and then we have a nice diagramming explaining about all the programmatic requirements, and these are the plans, and these are the section in which human figures are shown to show the proportions, and these are the two other another view. All right, and these are the sheet for the landscape, where you can first instance you can See, this is the landscape sheet. So this is how this is composed. You can see. Now, after these two sheets, when you see these type of sheets, sometimes we use black background to stand out. However, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it's not. If it's turn out to be confusion and strain for eyes, and it will take much time to understand the information. So don't do this, right? And after that, these kind of sheets where lot of text and very immature graphics are there, so it destroy your good design. So be particular with that, the background. Now after that, the color. There are many ways to render your project. Choose one you excel at to show it. So there is a white and black background with a grayscale presentation where you can show line with various thicknesses in addition to shades and shadows. This is the one example. You can create your own also. The second is, for example,
Hello. It seems there is some problem with Prakriti's voice. Uh, Let me just get back to you. Just 1 second. Technical error. Sorry.
have the color and material palette before you start with your presentation boards. All right. So in first sheet, you can see the grid organization and monotone color theme in which all renders and technical drawings are presented in the same theme, which makes presentation look same and easy to understand. In the another example, this is a mapping of an urban sheet. This is a mapping of an urban sheet in which all the activities is marked along this road and all the silhouettes is there to present activity on that. And now in the sheet, you can see how color is used to exploded views and creating visual hierarchy. In another sectional blown up, which gives the clarity of the space. In both sheets, subtle one color is used to break the monotonity. In first sheet, the circulation is the landscape and showing a different color. And in second one is all the technical drawings in black and white of the landscape. And in another one, example one shows how texting is done on an urban level project and how conceptual drawings is zoned out. All exploded views and section composition of the sheet are easy to understand. And in example number one, again the landscape drawings in which view is highlighted and presented. In second sheet is the urban mapping done in layers. So in all of above examples, you have to see about the sheet composition is done, how color scheme is applied, and how much text should be there. Most importantly, how illustrations and diagrammings make an impact and turn out your project into a very special project. For all about the composition and presentation, the bookmaking done is in design. Now, do's and don'ts for creating a good presentation is good quality of graphics, less text, more graphical representation, quality over quantity, storyline, format and scale and style, use same graphics throughout, attract grid, and most important point is always replace word whenever possible with simple illustrative sketches and figures. Use suitable font. Don't overuse colors, and most importantly, don't overdo it. Now, architect Shivani will start with illustrations and design.
Thank you, Prakriti. So now, illustrations and design. Let's talk about the importance of a good design. An architect's language is generally drawings. So instead of using a lot of text, why don't we present our ideas through simple drawings and diagrams? Now, diagrams are nothing but the idea that can be easily understood. They can be digital diagrams or sketches. So when a board is to be designed, our main concern is how the jury will react and what exactly do they expect. Your board should communicate with the juror right from the basic bubble diagram till the final design. The product should speak for itself, to which the diagrams come for the rescue. Let's talk about the process of concept formation and observe different types of diagrams. There are no rules regarding diagrams. It can be done in whichever manner the architect thinks would communicate more clearly. Let's see what illustration is. Illustrations are referred as simplified visual explanations of an idea or how something works. If this project is considered, the diagrams show a process of development of the mass, right from the site location till the finally achieved product. These kinds of drawings are called as mass diagramming or sequential diagramming because the diagrams show how the mass of the project, according to the conditions and concept, was developed. And as there is a sequence of steps of design process, it is called as sequential drawings. A sequential drawing doesn't necessarily be just for the building level. They can also be generated on urban level. This diagram shows a sequence, but not the sequence of the development of site, but the sequence in which the designer wants to present it. These kinds of drawings are also mistaken as programmatic drawings, but they are not. So mass diagramming or sequential diagramming works both on building as well as urban level. Illustrations have the power to convert the process language of your mind into process images. If this plan is considered, imagine this plan without the activity blown-ups. It does not give justice to the design. But as soon as the activity blown-ups are added, it becomes relevant. These kind of diagrams are called as activity diagrams because it shows what is happening in a specific areas of the project. It can be site specific or can be used for urban projects. So like sequential drawings, activity diagramming can also be done on building as well as urban level. With illustrations, very complex ideas can be represented and explained as a simple and powerful visual statements. This diagram gives us a sequence of design process, but the difference between this diagram one is that these diagrams show color codes, which depicts the programs that will be performed in the specific areas. These kinds of diagrams are called as programmatic diagrams. Programmatic diagrams are generally used to define the different functions that will be contained in a project. These can also be used at landscape level, in which diagrams refer the layout of a project in terms of program and usage and may be used to visualize of how the program relate to the building form. So like others, programmatic diagramming is allowed at building as well as landscape level. Illustrations are important to represent your ideas and transform your project into very professional project. A project looks professional because of the details. Generally, urban projects follow all the minute details. For example, if this plan is considered, it isn't quite explanatory except for the radius at which different activities are placed. As soon as the details are presented, it gives a clear view of even the slightest node of the street. The details can be presented in a lot of different ways. These kind of diagrams are called as urban mapping diagrams. Illustrations help to communicate the idea in a creative way. Colors play an important role in communicating the idea. So deciding a color scheme is most important when it comes to the interior projects. These kind of diagrams are called as mood boards used in interior projects and are quite explanatory. So a good color scheme and mood boards help to communicate the idea in a creative way. Now, let's have a look at the graphical representation of one of the projects by big architects. This example is relevant in terms of the points that we have seen in the presentation till now. This building is known as Tallinn Town Hall by big architects. Tallinn is the capital of Estonia. First, let's see the location of the town hall. Tallinn Town Hall is located at the edge of the green belt surrounding the medieval city of Tallinn. The black dot is the location of the new town hall, and there is a possibility of linking the green belt to the waterfront. The link is shown with a green arrow. Now let's see the organization of the spaces. Because of the compact organization, daylighting and view had to be compromised. Whereas hinged organization retains compactness and even maximizes daylight and view. General looking diagrams can be transformed by programming it, which is done by color coding the project. Each department is rotated in order to create maximum connections between the units, but at the same time leaving space for internal courtyards. The 7 ground light wells allow daylight to enter the marketplace at the ground floor. Large openings offer view to of the entire city from the offices. This is how the building looks. Now, let's see how the form is developed. So traditionally, the square in front of the town hall has always been the main gathering space. In new urban context, they suggested to elevate the town hall above the public square to create new urban space. The departments were arranged according to their individual needs. The volumes were elevated, creating a new public place under the town hall. The volumes of the buildings are raised according to their building regulations. The roof of the volumes are raised and lowered. The distance between the departments allow natural daylight to enter the marketplace below. Windows at the top of each department catches the low sun and reflects diffuse light into the offices. The large mirror in the council hall gives a periscope view of the city. From the outside, citizens can get the insight of the political work. From the top of the tower, citizens can enjoy the view of Tallinn. The same view can be experienced via the council hall mirror. The elevator at the ground floor restaurant brings citizens to the roof cafe from where they can enjoy the panoramic view of Tallinn. This is the view from the roof cafe. The ground floor is manipulated to create access and light for the kitchen. The tilted square becomes the main conference hall. And this is how the form looks. So the presentation and the storyline that Prakriti was talking about and the sequential diagramming that I explained are quite relevant in this project. These are some examples and some out of many types of diagrams that are commonly used in various presentations. Generally, the softwares that are used for architectural diagramming and post-production are Photoshop, InDesign, and Illustrator. To achieve these kinds of diagramming, we recommend some softwares. All the above examples are created using Illustrator, which is a vector-based software. For presentation, we would recommend InDesign. For image editing, of course, Photoshop, and for 3Ds, softwares whichever you all are comfortable with, and proper renders, of course. The 3Ds in this presentation are done in Rhino. Now I hand over to Anupama ma'am.
This was a great presentation, Prakriti and Shivani. Very informative and very productive. And I'm sure all those who have attended, you guys have also learned a lot. And I think,
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. Actually,
yeah.
we can't hear you properly.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just saying that this was really informative and productive tips given by both of you. And I think this is the need of the hour right now because we all have turned to this online medium for our meetings and classrooms. So I would like to even say to everyone who is attending that if you all are interested to learn how to translate all these tips into your presentations and portfolios, join us in a hands-on workshop with Prakrati and Shivani. Prakriti and Shivani of a 6-day workshop which will be from the 19th October to the 24th October and 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. daily. In this workshop, you will learn the design of illustrations in Adobe Illustrator, basics about architectural diagramming, create your own template for diagramming, develop a systematic workflow, learn to create advanced level of diagramming like urban mapping, trigonometric view, etc. You will learn to create impact keys and shortcuts in Adobe Illustrator to save your time. All this you will learn alongside Prakriti and Shivani with a provided resources to improve your presentation skills. You'll be given assignments and when you complete those assignments, you'll be provided with the completion certificate. So this workshop is has a fees of 1500 rupees. But since you all have been with us for the entire duration of the webinar, we are offering you a discount of 40%, which you can avail till Tuesday midnight, that is 13th midnight. So the coupon code for this uh, uh, 40% discount is Illustrator 40, which will make the price of this workshop from 1500 rupees to 900 rupees. But remember that you have to grab this limited opportunity by 13th Tuesday midnight. And I'm sure you all uh, have learned a lot from here. And now, you have any questions, any queries, you can just go ahead and ask us in the chat box. We'll be really happy to answer them. Yes, the this webinar, the video recording of the webinar will be the link will be provided to you all via mail. So let's take questions if we have some.
Hey guys, so I and Shivani have designed the illustration course especially for an architecture and design students. So this is a very intensive course where you can learn how to make these kind of diagrams which you're seeing on the screens, these kind of plan renders and these kind of interesting visual diagramming. So in this course, firstly, the day one will talk about the basic of architectural diagramming, that how to start diagramming architecture and different type of diagrammings. And second, we'll see the interface of Adobe Illustrator, and where we can taught you the layer management. You can finish off your work very fast as compared to Photoshop and other softwares. And third, we taught you to create such diagramming in Illustrator of concept diagrams which we have shown here, right? And axonometric views, sequential drawings, and which whatever we have explained. And then day fifth will be architect Shivani, which going to present her thesis, and which is based on these kind of diagrammings only. And then we'll give you one assignment which on day 6 review by all the four jurors, that is me, Shivani, Anupama ma'am, and Arnav sir. So this is a very intensive session. You must join it. This is a very interesting content we have created only for particularly for these students. So we are offering so much. So what will you gain with this workshop? You will able to achieve and present a good quality of drawings, and you will, of course, you will stand out, and you will get the better understanding of Adobe Illustrator software interface for the more creativity, and will able to organize or create an organized efficient output in a very less time, and will save your time, precious time, by providing aesthetically pleasing drawing. So will question answers round. Of course, we'll share the presentation with participants. It will uploaded in the this content for webinar will be uploaded on the website itself. Uh, any question, guys? You can write it on the question box. For information about the workshop, you can go to the website and check it out.
Ma'am, actually, I didn't have a question as such, but then I think you got disconnected on the stage two of color, so like little confused at that point. Ma'am, if you don't mind, can you explain it again?
See, we have. Oh, wait. You can unmute yourself and let us know your disconnect हुआ. This point?
Ma'am, previous.
This one. Tell me the slide number.
Stage two, ma'am, stage two. The second point.
I think this one, right?
Ma'am, this is
This one. You
hierarchy.
okay? All right.
The second one.
This one.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
No. Ma'am, I'm saying not the hierarchy. The second one. The second one.
Which one? The second one is this. The sheet example two you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in this, I've told you to, plan your sheet with respect to your best sections or best diagrams. So here you can focus, you can see there is a focus on these two diagrams only, not the plan. So you can take one, any examples of your sections or elevations, whatever your, focal point in your design. So you can plan your sheets in that way. So this is what visual attention to grab visual attentions are. All right. So any other question? If you want to stand out throughout your portfolio, you need to explain design, you need to showcase your design in a very creative way. In creative way as in each and every diagrams in your design, whatever you're showing has to be of quality. Okay, not the quantity. Nobody will see your portfolio in a quantity. The how can you put your information according to that? मतलब कितना अच्छा डायग्रामिंग आप लोग उसमें पुट कर रहे हैं, क्या आप कैसे विजुअल्स दे रहे हैं, कैसे इंफॉर्मेशन आप उसको शोकेस कर रहे हैं. This is what your portfolio stand from the rest, right? So this is very important. This stays very important. I think there is no question after that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello. Uh,
Can you type your question?
Actually,
Able to hear
yeah, I will
any?
type. Yeah, I will
Yeah.
type the question. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, if you want, you can mail us too. We'll answer it to you there. The workshop will be held like this month because firstly, yeah, I have my final submission this month. And as far as Chirag's question is that we have our urban design project. So I wanted, how can we enhance our axonometric drawings? See, you have to join a workshop. So first workshop will be at beginner level and another is at advanced level. So for that, beginner level is must, right? So you can join us there. And for enhance, you have to see projects like big architects, AA London, UCL Bartlett, or inke projects you have to refer for your diagramming skills. And then in Illustrator, try to make according to your projects, right? So we are you can join our workshop.